Hello and welcome back to Drama Investigator. Marlena Stell, beautiful lady, intelligent woman, owner of Makeup Geek, recently took the time out of her busy day to do an interview on Instagram Live with a couple of chemists about Jaclyn cosmetics. She also addressed a lot of issues herself. The interview was incredibly juicy. Basically, the chemist debunked a lot of things that people were worried about, but they also talked about issues with the lipsticks themselves as well. So here is the full interview. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification bell, and let's get into it.
I want to do a couple disclaimers first as well, that I know I've been very vocal on Twitter, and I know in the last year, because I've had a lot that on my mind. I still haven't even said everything that I've wanted to say in big picture, and I just kind of held it in. I've had 11 years of being in this YouTube community, and I've stayed, why am I already getting emotional? I've stayed very quiet on stuff because I didn't want to be dramatic. I don't enjoy drama. I hope you all realize that. I hope you can not just listen to what I'm saying now, but watch my behavior over the last 11 years to say that I have not made patterns of being in drama. I know I've been involved in it a bit more. I will insert myself into drama if it's something I feel very passionate about, or if it's something that I feel like I genuinely have knowledge behind the scenes of information that people out there do not have, and I feel that I have a right to speak on. I've been very vocal on this one, not because I wish Jaclyn anything at all. I don't know if she'll see this video. Jaclyn, if you are watching it, I do not wish you any ill will. We've known each other for many years. We've always been kind to each other. We did have a friendship at one point. I don't harbor any resentment, even after many things that happened. I never once had wished ill will or had spoken poorly of her as a person. My issue right now is about the situation itself, not about her as a person. And again, I want her line to be very successful. So anyways, with all that being said, let's open up for comments for you guys to talk to me personally, to ask me questions on anything that you want. And then when we're ready, I will give one of the chemists a call. I have Ashley from Molecular Makeup today. She has her master's degree in chemistry, and she's working on her PhD right now, and she'll tell her bio for you as well. And I have Morgan, who is a chemist that I've recently worked with. I actually just saw her a month ago to work on projects, and I just got lab samples from some work that she's done, and she does amazing work. She's a sweetheart. That lab does not want to be associated with anything in this video because they have to perfect themselves. And they don't want to be involved in drama, but Morgan, wow, lady, thank you. Morgan has been willing to speak out, but none of the associations and everything, nothing that we're talking about today has anything to do with labs that they work with, myself with Makeup Geek. This is on my personal channel. This is coming from me, Marlena, as a person. Whew, disclaimer's done. Okay. Question from Stephanie. Do you believe that they should be reported to the FDA? I think that they should be tested first, honestly, to see truly what is going on. We all, myself and many other professionals in the industry, do feel that there is something legitimately wrong with them, but we can't say for certain 100%. We can say we really do think it is this, but until they're tested, I think once it's confirmed that they're what it is, then be reported to the FDA. That's just my personal thing. So what do you think those fibers are? I truly don't know. Fibers, I want to confirm as well, because I know Talia put up an article kind of bringing up the point like, hey, I've seen a lot of things. This is normal. This isn't. Fibers in general, if they're sitting on top of a lipstick, they're not ideal, but it is common. It can happen. We've had those on ours, and I have a statement coming out to kind of explain that and refer to that too. It's not the fibers that's concerning everyone behind the scenes. It's the combination of the fibers with the black hairs, with the long hairs inside of the lipstick, not just sitting on top, and the black spots and the balls inside. There's so many different things. It's like, what is in this cake batter going on in here? And that's honestly what's concerning. It's not just the fibers. We can't say what the fibers are. It could be lint from a worker's jacket. It could be just airborne lint. It's pretty common to have that. It could be, you know, sprouts of something, a mold or fungus. We don't know until it's tested. So it is hard to say. So do you think the products are expired? I personally do think that, just because I've known from behind the scenes of the timing of when the lipsticks were starting to be worked on. I've seen her statements on Twitter saying back in 2017 that they were ready to go. And unless these were remade, which I don't think was the case, then I do feel that they are expired, at least to some extent. But I can't say 100% for certain. I wasn't there in production when it was happening. So do you agree with Jaclyn staying quiet? I don't. I'm really disappointed in that. I still love her. And it's hard to, was not expecting it emotional. I don't want to attack her as a person, but her being quiet is an issue. So sorry. Ooh, was not expecting a line for that. Do you think her line can bounce back from this? I hope so. But she has to prove honesty. That's what is so frustrating for me. And that's why I've been so vocal for the last year to speak out with some things against Jaclyn, because it wasn't about her. It's about the dishonesty. I feel like there's been a pattern of dishonesty, and I know that it's happening to not damage, her reputation of products that she's working on. But at the end of the day, we all have to be responsible for stuff. I make mistakes. I've put out crappy, products. We had sparklers that that they were messy when you open them, and we're like, look, we're sorry. Here's a partial refund. If you're really unhappy, let's refund you. We have to own up to it. And I've effed up. Everyone has. But just be honest about it, especially if there's any possibility that people's health are at stake. That's the only thing. So, can you clear up the batch code thing? Generally, each product that you have, if they make a batch and different colors as well, will have a different code. When I get even R&D samples, research and development samples, which I have downstairs on my desk, but I'll get lab samples, each color will have a special code for that. Each lab does it differently, so I cannot speak on how they do it, but to have one batch code for multiple colors, I have not seen before. So, would you call her personally? I wouldn't at this point, only because I've contacted Jaclyn the end of last year, and our last correspondence was the end of last year, and I had told her, I loved that she did a giveaway at Christmas time, but after that, I won't speak to her personally right now because of the dishonesty, but it doesn't mean that I'm sitting here angry or hate her or anything like that. I just feel like if I did talk to her, that I don't feel I would get truthful answers, honestly. And I hate to say that. And I'm not trying to bash at all. So what is the top lab in the USA? I can't speak on lab names. It's a protection of privacy, and they're very, very careful to make sure that that their names don't come out, because they work with many major clients. If a company works with a lab, they don't work with just us. They work with many others, and they have a business and a reputation maintained. So I can't say their names. So, I just got ColourPop blush sticks. It looked like lint. It seems common. Yes. How do we know what is safe? I think if you see fibers that are just on top, and they're small, and it does look like lint, maybe scrape off that top layer and see. If you kind of inspect it, pull up the lipstick tube. Hold on, let me grab one for you guys to say. Okay. So if I'm going to pull up a lipstick tube and I say, okay, does this have fibers on it? Sorry, this is very used, but so if it's a slimline or whatever, and I see fibers on the top, I'm like, okay, it looks kind of fishy. Let me take a butter knife. Let me cut off that little top lip just to be sure. But if you have any questions in your mind that it just something doesn't feel right, kind of smell it. If it doesn't smell fresh, if it smells a bit rancid, that could be another sign. Lift it up and look and see. Like I'm lifting up a iconic lipstick, and I'm saying, okay, does this look like there's other stuff in there? Are there fibers coming out per se? And you just have to inspect it and kind of see. If you feel like there's any question in your mind at all, and you just got that lipstick, it hasn't been sitting in your drawer for a while, contact the company. Most companies will say, I'm so sorry, let's get you a new one if you feel unsafe about it. So that's all. You just have to inspect it and be careful. What do you think the fibers, holds, and beads are? The beads, when they're cut open like that, it's such a huge mystery. People are saying it looks like plastic. I don't have the lipstick in person to see. I have seen that with a product that we formulated. I have it out to show you guys. This isn't the actual one. This was a R&D sample. It wasn't full production. Our production of these did have plastic in there. It did have a lot of contamination issues, so we never sold them, and that's what they look like. I don't have them any in here. At first, I thought it was bits of plastic in there because that's what people are saying, but they're exact balls and they're hollow in the inside. I can't speak on that. I would defer to a chemist to talk about. So, yeah. Can you give your perspective on her packaging having the same address as Morphe products? I have not seen that. I don't know if maybe they're helping her or what. Let me look at the bottom of our lipsticks. We just have the label on ours. Let me see if I have another brand. Like I have, hold on really quick, you guys. I have a MAC one. This is used. I know we're all paranoid now. I'm like, when I'm talking this one, like all my lipsticks, not just MACs. I love MAC lipsticks. I see the place that's made. So usually a label on the lipstick itself will have the color name, and it will have, where the company is based, or where it won't say the address of the lab that it's produced. So legally you have to disclose the country that it's made in. That's it. You have to say, you have to make sure that your site has the ingredients listed. So if anyone has allergies to any specific thing, they know that they can find that information on the company's site. So that legally we know we have to do, and we do have to disclose the country that they were made in. We're not talking about the components. We're talking about the product itself. If we make this, like MAC makes their lipsticks, I think it says Canada. So they have to say made in Canada. Ours are made in US, we put made in US, blah, blah, blah. The label situation with Morphe, I don't know. I haven't seen that before, so I can't speak on it fully. Do labs use gloves that shed? No. And that was when I got really upset when I heard that it was white cotton gloves. I have never seen that. Other people I've spoken to, I asked chemists, I asked a lot of people other than just myself, have you seen these gloves? Because I haven't. I've always seen, they look like latex, but I know they're not. They're like vinyl, or I think it's like nitrile is what they're called, but they're a plasticky type ones. The only time I've heard of them having a non-plasticky glove is if you have a component where they're dealing with the components itself and they're handling this part, then you don't want to leave fingerprints on it. So it could be that. But actually dealing with the lipstick itself in production, no, I have not. What are the black hairs? I don't know. If it was long, I would have assumed that it was an actual hair. That was some of the things that we found in the concealers we had. It looked to us when we pulled them out to be human hairs and all of that. So it could be. Again, we have to wait and see how what the tests come back and say. So, do you guys have questions as far as cosmetic production in general, the process? How does it work with company owners? Because I'm not a chemist, but I'm very hands-on with product development. If you guys have any questions on that, I'd love to. I want this to be an educational experience on everything. I don't want it to be just focused on the lipstick thing, because I think there's been a lot that's been said. And until tests are done, I don't think anyone can give a definitive answer on exactly what's in there. Do you think her makeup line was purposely contaminated? I don't believe so, because if a lab were to purposely do that, and it would be very possible an investigation would be done to see if they did that, I don't feel any lab would risk their entire business to do something for one client. So I don't feel that that was the case. We never know what people do nowadays. I don't know. How do you focus on finished product before it goes out? So for Makeup Geek, I can only speak on us. When we get product from the labs, we know that the labs themselves do QC checks. They do quality control to make sure that the batch is good, that the formula is good. Usually we get what's called a standard. So after production is done and they press, like for example, an eyeshadow, they send me an eyeshadow pan and this is our standard. And they say I have to sign a form that says, yes, I approve this for production. And then they take that and they continue doing that production and they feel that everything looks safe. And then even after they finish production, they do a quality control inspection. My team, because I have my own warehouse, and we've just always done double checks because we've always been leery about making sure everything was very high quality. when we get the shipment in, my team will go through and check. They won't check every single one. I will be honest about that. But what we'll do is take, several boxes. So we may get, like, say, for example, we'll just use the lipsticks. So if I'm ordering 100,000 lipsticks, I'm not just going to get a big box with 100,000 lipsticks. It's going to come with kind of smaller boxes in there, and they're going to be set for usually about 100 a piece. So we'll take a box, we'll open it up. First off, we check to make sure the shipment looks good. We do an inventory count, and then we'll pull random ones and check them. And then as my team, because we do our own distribution, as my team is putting stuff in the boxes and such, we make sure that it gets checked as well when it goes into the box to ship out. So that's just how we do it. That's the process. Maybe different for other people, I don't know. So how often does a product fail quality check? We've had 2 issues now with product not being up to par. So that's been in the last, when was Makeup Geek started? Almost 2012, so 7 years. So we've had a couple ones. Usually when we find a lab that we really trust and we've worked with over time, their quality is usually pretty consistent and we don't have issues. There's going to be a random one that will have something broken. I don't know if you guys have been on our site and you've seen that we've had like damaged products that we'll sell. It's not contaminated or anything at all, but it may like have a little nick in it, or maybe the pan is, shapen differently or something like that. So we always set those aside and try to be as picky as possible and say, these aren't bad. They just, don't look perfect. So I don't know how they would have come through. So how long do lipsticks take to expire? It depends on the ingredients inside, and I will save that question for the chemist as well to give their input. But generally speaking, creams last for anywhere from 1 to 3 years. It depends on, were they stored in a cool, dry place? Were they hot and were they in a humid environment? Were they exposed to any elements, or were they in boxes still? There's a lot of variables to say on that, but generally creams will expire anywhere from 1 to 3 years, usually closer to like 2 or 3 years. Powders, a little longer. Usually it's anywhere between 2 to 4 years. And again, it's depending on if it was exposed, were they open in the air, all of that. There's a lot of variables that can affect that. So what would cause a lipstick to be drying when it's supposed to be moisturizing? There may not be enough oils or waxes in there, or it could be that it aged and sometimes things dry out. Hard to say exactly on that too, but how long does production take? Generally speaking, production can be itself anywhere from 3 to 9 months. It takes, it can depend on how long does it take to procure the raw materials. So raw materials, your mica, your oils, your binders, they're all going to come from kind of different spots, and the lab has to, once you place a PO. So if I know that I'm ordering a thing of lipsticks, I put my 50% down. The lab then knows, okay, we're moving forward with this project. We're going to procure our raws. Procuring raws, because they come from all over, generally take at least 8 weeks for that process alone. It depends on how the lab is booked out. If there's other clients that are coming first and you have to wait until a spot is open for production, that could affect the timeline as well. But usually production itself, anywhere 3 to 6 months is common. I've seen up to 9 months as well. So, and that doesn't account for all of the shipping time coming from wherever it's produced to your facility, the packaging the lipsticks in the boxes, putting the labels on, all of that stuff is a whole nother step. So, yes. What's the longest period of time you've ever had lipstick sitting around waiting to be shipped out to customers? I would say it depends on the colors. Some colors move more than others. I would say maybe about a year. We try to keep the inventory moving quick. It depends on, sorry, where I was going with that. So usually about a year. If we feel like they've been on the shelves a bit longer, then we'll start pulling and making sure everything looks and feels okay before we ship them out. But we try to, I don't know if you guys have seen not only our company, but many companies, if they're out of stock on stuff, it's because we've got to wait for that reorder to come in. And because that production takes a bit, it's kind of a process of constant, like, okay, when is this going to sell out? We have to order ahead of time. It's a very, very tricky game of just staying on top of inventory. It's a huge job, and mad respect to my team who manage that. It's tricky. Okay, so because it's 12:30, you guys, I think I want to get the first chemist on because I know that they're waiting and their time is precious. So I'm going to give Ashley a call first, and if you guys can't hear, let me know. I'll put the phone as close as I can so you guys can hear her, and if you can't hear her, I'll repeat what she's saying. So give me 1 second. Ashley, if you're watching, I'm calling you. Hold on really quick. Okay. So Ashley is from Molecular Makeup, and I'll let her introduce herself as well.
Hello.
Hi, Ashley. It's Marlena.
Hi, Marlena.
Hey. Okay, so I've got you on live, and I've got you on speaker so everyone can hear. Can you guys let me know, is Ashley speaking, if you can't hear, so I can repeat? But I was going to see if you want to introduce yourself first and just say, what do you do? What is your experience? How long have you been doing that? And I already let them know that to find you on Molecular Makeup. And after this video, guys, I'll screenshot her handle. So if you want to check her out, great. It would be amazing.
Thank you so much. So my name is Ashley, and I have a master's degree in chemistry, and I'm currently working on my PhD in chemistry under the branch of glycoscience, which is at the interface of biology and chemistry.
Okay.
And I have a passion for both chemistry and cosmetics, and I really love researching cosmetic ingredients and explaining the ingredients based on my knowledge and understanding of the chemistry involved.
Mm-hmm. That is amazing. So I don't know if you guys can hear, Ashley has her master's degree. She's working on her PhD. She has stated that she wanted to let you guys know that she is not currently a cosmetic chemist. That is her goal for the future as she works on her PhD. But she does have the education and the experience to at least speak, I believe it's on ingredients and all that, right, Ashley?
Right, yeah. I feel like I can offer information on ingredients, proper lab protocol, and things like that.
Okay. Good. Well, I'm going to let, I saw you on speaker, so if you guys have questions for Ashley from a chemist standpoint, and again, I wanted the chemist to come on because I don't want to be the only person. I don't want you guys just to listen to what I have to say. I want to defer to people who are professionals, have the experience, have the education and knowledge and all that. So, okay, what questions do you guys have? So, Sully Maflora says, from a chemist perspective, do you think mold is suspected to be in the lipsticks? And only answer, Ashley, on what you feel comfortable.
Okay, so definitely there would have to be lab testing done to say with 100% certainty. However, I did watch Raw Beauty Christie's video, and I showed a microbiologist who is my colleague who has a lot of experience analyzing fungal spores, and based on some of the microscopic images that she showed in that video, he said that it did appear to look like a spore, but again, we cannot say that for certainty without lab testing. But I just wanted the consumers to know that that potential does exist, but it's very important to know that lab testing has to be done before that can be said with certainty.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Does the embedded fibers, in your opinion, look like hyphae? Is that how you say that?
I'm actually not a microbiologist, I'm a chemist, but I'm just not sure that I can comment on
okay.
the embedded fibers. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no, that's totally okay. So any question that I'm putting out, if you can't answer, totally fine. How would fungal spores get into the lipstick batch?
So if there is any expired products, that's a possibility. Perhaps the oils or waxes going rancid and the double bonds breaking down, perhaps that the oil is breaking down and going expired, that could be a potential breeding ground. and it also could just be a risk from contamination as well from other particles as well.
Okay. Jaclyn, asking what could cause the hard little balls? Because that was my confusion too. Because at first I thought, everyone was thinking maybe it's the waxes can harden, and that's common too. Like to have, little bumps and things could happen, but the balls we're seeing are really round. So, you have any comment on that you think, or no?
Well, I had a couple of theories that, perhaps that either the butters are crystallizing or that the inorganic minerals, such as the pigments, perhaps they weren't mixed properly, or and somehow they are separating from the oils and butters in the formula, and maybe that could be a potential for why we're seeing the hard particles there. But again, I just can't say for sure without testing.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I have one question that says, how do labs usually clean or sterilize the equipment? Is there a certain process you've seen?
So for me, whenever we are doing any experiments, for example, expressing proteins or anything like that, we always spray everything down with 70% ethanol, and we also we wear nitrile gloves and spray down the gloves with 70% ethanol to ensure that there is no contamination on the gloves, no bacteria present on the gloves that could contaminate anything.
Okay, got you. One girl, I'm sorry, I didn't see the username, that is asking, how long does testing usually take?
So for microbiology, I think it can take a few days to get the results back. It just depends on the type of test. But again, I don't have a lot of experience with microbiology, so I can't say for sure. But from my understanding, I think it can take a few days to get those results.
Okay, got you. Okay. Are there any questions you guys have from a chemist standpoint, production standpoint? Are there any ingredients that you guys want to know? Like, what ingredients are usually in lipsticks? What ingredients are in other makeup products? You guys have any questions on that? Because I know everyone keeps asking, like, what are the holes? What are the fibers? We already know we can't fully say until those are tested, but I want this opportunity to be for you guys to ask questions about how everything is made, to be very educated on just stuff behind the scenes as well. So, do you think the formula should be in that kind of packaging or should be more of in a slimline packaging? I don't know. Do you want to answer on that, Ashley? Because I know with the cosmetic thing, because she's not a cosmetic chemist. I know.
I do think, since the melting point of the mango butter in the formula is, it begins melting at 86 degrees Fahrenheit, I do think that would be a good idea, because the melting point of a mixture is both lowered and broadened when you have a mixture of compounds. So I think that would be the best option.
Okay, got you. Okay. Someone's asking, I'm not sure what the difference between chemistry and biology is. We'd love to have the chemist give us some education. That's actually a good question, the difference between chemistry and biology, just for those who may not know.
Okay, so for chemistry, we are looking at molecules and how they interact, and for biology, it's more of how it interacts for living organisms. So yeah, does that answer the question?
I hope so. Does that answer your guys' questions on the difference between chemistry and biology? So wouldn't using the mango butter, which melts at 86 degrees Fahrenheit, impact what happens to the lipsticks if they put them in their pockets and such? So that was my question too, on not just cosmetics, but anything that is made that may have a melting point at a certain one. When it gets very hot in the summer, and we're in summer now, could that affect things if, like, you place it in your pocket or you leave it in your purse and it's a warm day and you're walking around? Because does that come into effect when we're talking about melting points?
Yes, that could certainly increase the temperature and, yeah, potentially cause these ingredients with a lower melting point to. So that could be some of the reasons that we are seeing the lipsticks melted.
Okay, got you. And then the last question I'll take, because we have one more chemist to hop on, is about the type of gloves that you've used and the many types of experiences that you've been in. Do you know what types of gloves you guys usually use? Is there a standard?
Yes, we always use nitrile gloves because they provide an occlusive, non-permeable barrier. So for example, I know you were mentioning the white cotton gloves. So I personally don't think that white cotton gloves would be very sanitary because they are porous.
Okay.
Whereas nitrile gloves provide an occlusive, non-permeable barrier. So I'm not sure about the protocols for manufacturing cosmetics, but in research labs, whenever we're going to express proteins, we always spray down our nitrile gloves with 70% ethanol to ensure that no bacteria is on our gloves and to ensure sanitary conditions.
Okay. And then one question for me too is, what is the difference, I guess, between using vinyl gloves versus the nitrile gloves?
They're made of different polymers. I'm not sure which one would be the best for cosmetic production. I'm not really familiar with what would be the appropriate one to use for cosmetic production. But in all of my experiences in research labs, we use nitrile gloves.
Okay. That is good to know. Okay. Well, I'm going to end with that for now, and I will link to Ashley's site. So if you guys have questions to, check out her channel. She does have a YouTube channel, Molecular Makeup. So I'll make sure after the video to screenshot that just as a thank you for her time for answering some of the questions for us today. So I really appreciate it, Ashley.
All right. Thanks so much, Marlena.
Thank you. I'll talk to you later.
All right.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Okay. So I'm going to call one other chemist, Morgan, and that's the one that I've worked with and saw recently. So let me give her a call. And I know I'm seeing a lot of comments for you guys saying you're doing this because you're mad at Jaclyn. I am not mad at Jaclyn at all. I want to keep verifying that. I have many emails, many correspondence that I have not put out there in the public to say that I had helped Jaclyn a while ago. Even after our collab went down, at that time, I never spoke on it. I never bashed her publicly about that. The conversation came up after the email had gotten leaked. Then it became a talking point. But if I was mad at her because of that, that would have happened. I would have been, making comments or showing frustration a long time ago. My thing now is I'm genuinely concerned about the safety of the lipsticks, and this obviously is a heated topic, and this is a great time to talk to chemists about what's going on behind the scenes with how makeup is made, ingredients, all of that great stuff. So let me call Morgan. Hold on really quick, you all. Let me get on the phone with her. Let's see. Okay. See if that was the one that I got through on.
Hello?
Hi, Morgan. It's Marlena. How are you?
Hi, Marlena. How are you?
Good. Thanks so much for taking your time. I know you're busy and I know you work hard and all of that. So I really appreciate you coming on and speaking to everyone. So I have you on speaker, by the way.
Sure, no problem.
Yes.
No problem.
Yeah. So I'm gonna make sure that I watch the comments to make sure that everyone can hear you. So I wanted you to be able to introduce yourself, and then I will also, because I have permission from Morgan to link to her Instagram, I'll put that as well so you can check her out. But I'll let you introduce yourself, Morgan.
Yeah, sure. So first of all, so sorry for my awful French accent. So I will try to speak English as best as I can.
Yes.
My name is Morgan. I'm a French chemist, cosmetic chemist. I do have a Bachelor of Science of Chemistry. It's specialized into the cosmetic field. So I've been doing this job, chemist, for 5 years now. So
started my career into a lab, a French lab, and I was making foundation, so all kind of liquid form for face makeup.
Mm-hmm.
So I worked for a brand first, and then I moved on my actual job, which is working on to powders. So all kind of powders like foundations, blushes, highlighters. So yeah, I've been working on a lot of form of makeup, and I'm really passionate about it.
Oh, very nice. And I can verify that Morgan has done some great product. The ones that I've seen that she had worked on were very, very well done, very beautiful. So, okay, so I'm going to open it up to if you guys have more questions for Morgan and her experience. So Morgan is a cosmetic chemist, so she can talk about the process of making makeup, you know, things that go into it, timelines, all of that stuff. So let me know what you guys would like to ask. Why would different colors have the same batch code if they have different mixtures and ratios of pigments per se? Are you able to speak on that?
Yeah, actually that is something that I've never seen before. I only can speak about my experience, and actually there is, as you said, Marlena, earlier, there is different formula numbers and different batch code numbers depending on the day the production was made or the color. So that's something I've never seen before. So okay. I don't know what, you know.
Yeah. So normally on your guys' end, when you make product, how is the batch codes? Because I know when I get, you know, my R&D samples, each color, each formula has its own code. How does that work, I guess, when it goes into production? Because I know on my side from the codes that I see, but I'm curious to know, like, how do you guys code things? Is there a certain process?
Mm-hmm. So it depends on the lab actually. Most of the time we kind of use a code for the project, and then a code for the shade, and then a code for the actual trial itself. So if it is like the third one or the fourth one, so that's how it works. But depending on the lab you are working with, it can be also the day that it has been made. It can be, I don't know, maybe the client number. It depends.
Okay. So there's definitely different codes for all of the different steps along the one.
Yeah.
And then why, can you answer why, I guess, do labs have batch codes? Like, what is the purpose of having them?
The purpose of having them is that you can follow the production of each manufacturer. So basically, if you want to control a sample when it is on the market, you can kind of trace when it has been made. So you can kind of know which day, which person have made this batch. So you have a lot of information thanks to batch code.
Okay, got you. Someone is asking, I'm curious about the common ingredients that people say to avoid, like parabens, other ingredients like that. Are there certain ingredients that, you know, we should avoid, or does it honestly depend on preference or how they mix with other ingredients?
That's a tricky question because there is a lot of kind of marketing issue, you know, with those ingredients, especially, for example, for parabens. Some kind of parabens are actually the best preservative that we have right now.
Okay.
So other preservatives, even if they are kind of natural derived, they may not be protecting your formula as well as parabens. Okay. As for other ingredients, it depends. It can be kind of sensitive to an allergic reaction, or it can depend on your taste, on your ethic. If we are talking about the environmental issue, it depends.
Okay. And then I had a question too about the whole paraben thing, since we're on it really quick, is if parabens are a great way to preserve makeup, why do you think years ago that everyone was in such an uproar over parabens not being a good option in makeup?
Actually, it is right now the best option that we know as a chemist. I think that several years ago, some trace of parabens, a certain form of parabens, have been found, I think, into a breast cancer. I think that's the first thing, the start of this story. And I think the magazine and the internet kind of went viral with this news.
They kind of blew
so
it up.
Everyone was kind of afraid of using them, but there are no studies of link, between cancer, breast cancer, and parabens. And again, there is some form of parabens that are completely safe and that are the best preservative that we have right now.
Okay, got you. And then I saw one question pop up asking, why do sometimes lipsticks stain? What causes lipsticks to stain? Because I've seen that happen with several different brands, several lipsticks, but what is it that causes them to stain?
Actually, it's because of the pigments and the lake that are used. So some of the pigments are called as mineral and others are called as organic. Those organic pigments have kind of a part of the molecules that is similar to a colorant, a dye. So it will interact with your skin and then kind of color it. So it will stain. That's not dangerous. That's not an allergic reaction. That's totally fine.
Yeah.
But that's why lipstick are staining violet.
Yeah. So I don't know if you guys heard that. If your lipsticks are staining, there are definitely things that we get worried about and everyone's in an uproar. Staining is not an issue. That isn't something safe. It can happen. And like Morgan's saying, it's just it could be the lakes or the minerals that are used. So, does the lab do quality control or does an external company usually do that for you?
Actually, there is a quality team into the factory that will control at every stage and every step of the way to the production and to the sending of the manufacturer. So there is a quality team. We can also have a visit from external person. That's a possibility. Also, the client or the brand may be sending someone. It depends on the brand you are working with.
Okay. And then I think one of the last ones, we'll just take a couple more, but because a lot of people, I guess, have been worried about the air bubbles in makeup in the lipsticks. And when I saw that, I wasn't concerned because I had seen that before. What causes the little holes or little air bubbles in makeup, and can that happen in production?
Yeah, sure. That's not an issue. Also, this is something that we are seeing a lot because it is caused by the air. Actually, when we are mixing the formula, sometimes the speed of the mixing can add some air into the batch.
Okay.
And so when we are pouring it into the lipstick mold, the air is kind of trapped into the formula, and so it's kind of hard like that.
Okay.
So that's not an issue. Regarding the little bee, I personally think that it can be like waxes that are not fully melted.
Okay.
And actually, it kind of makes sense because, lipstick are poured into the mold, so they are kind of upside down. And so if waxes are not melted enough, they will sink into the bottom of the mold. And so people are actually finding them at the top of their lipsticks. So it kind of makes sense that is waxes, but we can be sure 100%.
Okay, so the round beads could be waxes that didn't melt, and the reason why they're on the tips of the lipsticks versus all throughout could be because they're a little bit denser and they sink to the bottom when the lipstick is filled. Is that right? Okay, got you.
Yeah.
And then can you speak really quickly, because I want to make sure that all of the symptoms that we're seeing, that people know, like, not to be stressed about every single symptom. What about sweating? Is it common for, because even when we did concealers, I saw sweating on some of them. Can you speak a little bit on if that's normal? Is it safe?
So hot water products as lipsticks or concealers or cream foundation, they are basically made out of three main ingredients. So first of all, you have the waxes that allows your product to be kind of a hard form.
Okay.
Then you will have paste form, such as butters and things like that will bring you moisture, gliding also.
Okay.
And then you will have oils.
And then
Those
oils.
three main ingredients will mix together and create kind of a net into the formula when it crystallizes. When you have too much oil into the formula, it is for a purpose, maybe having a lot of moisturization or a lot of gliding for your product. If you have too much oil compared to the waxes and the paste, they all kind of break through the formula. It is not dangerous. It's kind of normal. We try to, as a chemist, to avoid that because it's kind of considered not okay. You know, when we are going through the stability test, we are kind of trying to avoid that situation, but it's fine. It's nothing is dangerous or something. It's okay.
Okay. So can you tell me again, because I didn't hear the second one. So you said waxes, oils, and then what was the third base ingredient for the creams?
Kind of tasty one, like butters.
Oh, like butters?
You know, yeah, butter.
Okay, got you. So waxes, oils, and butters are the three common ingredients in creams and lipsticks and such.
Yeah.
Okay, got you. Okay, well, I think a lot of the other questions I'm seeing are repeats, so I'll let everyone kind of rewatch the live from before. But I really appreciate you taking the time, Morgan. This is really informational.
Thank you so much, Marlena. It's a pleasure.
Yes, thank you so much. And I will link to you so that way everyone can go to your Instagram page and follow you just to get to connect with you personally. So thanks, Morgan.
Yeah, great. Thank you. Have a good one.
You too. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, so I appreciate Ashley and Morgan. I will, after the video, I'll do a screenshot of their social and add it to my Instagram so you guys can make sure to connect with them. I really appreciate them taking their time. They didn't have to do that, so I'm really grateful for that. So just to confirm, you guys, because I know we've seen a lot of things in lipsticks, and this is a great conversation to have. Even for me, I'm going through, I'm like, okay, I need to like consider all of this stuff for future products as well. But as I know, like the holes in the lipsticks, the little bubbles, those you guys shouldn't be worried about on their own, because that is common. Like Morgan had said, it could be the speed of when they're mixing the products together. It's almost like when you mix a cake batter, and you know, the higher you put the mixer on, the faster it goes. You can get more air in there, and that can cause a little bit of holes and bubbles. So that is normal. She had also said that the sweating, it actually wasn't sweating. According to Morgan, she's saying that it's because of the oils. So you have waxes, oils, and then the butters is a combination of three base ingredients in cream products. And the oils, if there's more oils in the formula than say the waxes, the oil can seep to the top, and that's why you see maybe little like the little rings of discoloration. It's just the oil is coming through, but that isn't a safety issue as well either. And then the fibers and such, until it's tested, it could be a multiple different things. Like I said, it could be lint, it could be things airborne, it could be a multiple different things. So, do you guys have any other questions about how products are made? Anything that you want to ask me, myself? I'm not going to keep repeating like all the dramatic stuff. I want you guys to understand like the ingredients that are used, how it's made, in addition to all this other stuff that we're trying to address. So, and I hope you guys, one thing I do want to say personally is because I feel like at this point, I know that it's a very heated topic, and it's escalating a lot because there hasn't been a statement made, but I do think we have to be careful. Sorry, my chair. I do think we have to be careful not to be like, hey, let's not use these lipsticks until there's confirmation from testing to say, are they okay to use? So just set them aside, put them somewhere, but let's not, knowing that, hey, I'm not going to use this, keep yourself safe, but let's not freak out and cause this commotion to where now it's like very extreme and all of that. We have to make sure that, it doesn't go overboard too. I hope I'm saying that right, because I want to make sure. I know we've seen a lot of things where like my lips cut, I've gone to the hospital. It's like, okay, well, let the doctor decide what specifically that's from. It could be from that. It could be from other things. You can't tell. Just the doctor has to tell you, honestly. So let's not like make it, I mean, let's be concerned, let's be careful, but not like have pandemonium and everyone's like grabbing their children and stocking up on Walmart. We're going to Target. I got to get food and stuff. The world's ending. Let's keep it safe, but you know. So anyways, you guys, when a product sits, Brianna's on here. Hi, Brianna. When a product sits before going out, what is protocol for that? Is it in a box, lipstick tube, or on a shelf? So I'll speak on my part. So generally we have kind of like two pulling stations. So I've shown behind the scenes for Makeup Geek. We have like huge warehouse shelves where we have products that are still sitting in the boxes themselves. So like a larger box with a set of say 100 product inside. So usually they're sitting in those and they're in, you know, a cardboard box. So they're, you know, dark and they're sitting on a shelf and we make sure the environment is cool. And then some of them, we have that's easier for pulling. So we have all the product that are in like little shelves, and that way the pullers, before they pack the stuff and ship it out, can grab a single item. So we have a portion of them that are then in the tubes, and we know those are going to get pulled first and put into the box to be packaged up and shipped out. So I hope that answered your question, Brianna. If it doesn't, message me again. How do you alter a formula? Do you start with a standard formula the lab has and ask for it to be creamier? Yes. So generally when we're making products, if I'm working on a new product, usually what I'll do is I'll say, can you send me some stock samples that you have of, let's stop calling lipsticks. Let's say it's blushes. So I'm working on a new formula blushes. I ask the lab, can you guys send me your standard formulas of blushes? And then I tell them, these are it's called your no-no list or your must exclude list. Like usually every company, their relationship with the lab, they give them from that company's perspective. Like for us, it's like, I don't want octinoxate in there. I don't want to have mineral oil. I don't want to have talc if we can. I give them this whole list of things like, these are what I would like to avoid, and here's some of the things that I do want. And then they send me samples based off of the specs that I give them, and it's up to me to work with the chemist or the lab itself and say, I need this more pigmented, I need it creamier, I need it softer. What can you guys do? Can you add a shimmer to it? And we go back and forth, and it's they send me samples. I say, yes, no, let's tweak this, tweak that. And it's just taking a starting point and then expanding or changing that until we get to a point where I'm happy with the product, I sign off on it, and then usually the base formula, once it's approved, then we go into color matching. So if I have this blush, I'm just going to use an example. I don't have, so I have this blush, okay? Ignore that it's well used. So I have a blush. This is a base formula, and I'm like, good, I love the formula. It's smooth, it's creamy, it's pigmented, it's beautiful. I love this. We then say, okay, now this blush, I want a pink one. I need a coral. I need a deep rose color. I need a mauve. And I will usually give them Pantone colors and say, can you match this Pantone? Or it is common for you to find something else on the market that is close to what you want in your formula and say, so-and-so has a blush that this is this color. Can you take this but make it 10% more red, and I need it 5% less pigmented? You can do that as well. It's not you ripping off the company, but it's easier sometimes for chemists to take a color that already exists, apply it to your formula, and make tweaks and to what you need. So if not a Pantone book, I pull it out, match Pantone 583 for this coral color. Hope that makes sense for you guys. So I guess I will end with that because I know it can be like a long discussion and all of that. I hope you guys were able to at least leave here feeling like you learned some information today. I hope it was just informative for you all. So thank you guys for joining the live. I hope that I hope you guys understand where I'm coming from, that I want everyone to be educated. Let's not go extreme now and start freaking out too much, but still be careful, and just all of us to learn from this experience of things to look for and how things are made, and just be educated, because knowledge at the end of the day is power. So thanks, you guys. I hope you're doing great, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.